Hi and welcome to another video. This is part 2 of a series of videos I'm doing on Modbus Node-Red and MQTT. In the last video we looked at the basic Modbus nodes that are available, and in this video we're going to look at taking data from Modbus devices. In particular we're going to look at how we take integers, 32-bit integers and floating point numbers, and how we process those integers and floating point numbers. Okay, this is the flow I'm going to use, and I'll take you through the top one because all of these are basically duplicates of the top one, except as you can see here, this is going to read a 16-bit integer, this is going to read a 32-bit integer, but the basics of those function nodes are the same. I'll just point out the differences. Okay, so we're just going to trigger the read, and if we look at the function node here, then it's going to create the actual command. So we got a function code of 3, which means we're going to read a holding register. We're going to start at address 3 and we're going to read one register. Then we pass that command into the flex getter, and then we pass it back into another function node which actually processes the data. Now this is going to process the buffer data, and you can see here we get the buffer and then we convert it into a value. This is into a 16-bit integer using the buffer object. Now I did a video on the buffer object and I'll put a link in the description below, so if you're not familiar with working with the buffer object, then I recommend you look at that video. Okay, so we're going to read, and we're going to read an unsigned integer, and it's going to be a 16-bit integer, and it's going to be big endiness. You can see here the BE. Now you have to know your data structured, so if you're using signed integers, then you wouldn't use the U, you just use the read integer, and if you're using little endiness, you'd have to have a LE there. So if we look then at the 32-bit integer, if we look at the function node that processes that data, you can see here we're going to read a 32-bit integer, big endiness, unsigned. And if we go down to the float, we see here we're going to read a float, big endiness. And if we go down to the 64-bit float, which is this one here, there we're going to read a double, big endiness. Okay, there is a very good tutorial on W3 Schools, and I'll put a link in the video below. I'll also put a link to the tutorial I've got on my site on reading buffers, and you can take a look at it there. Okay, but you can see all of these function nodes that are processing the data coming out of the Modbus flex getter are basically the same. They've just got a slight variation depending on what you're trying to read. Now, I'm using a simulator, and I've already pre-configured the simulator with the values in here, and I'm going to do this by actually starting at different addresses. In the last video we used address 0 and 1, and we're going to start using it at address 3, and we're going to work our way down here. And you'll see that when I look at the function. So this is all pre-configured, so when we read it we actually get a sensible value. Returning back here, you might wonder what this is all about. Well, when I data filled the simulator, I needed to know what the values I needed to put in there, and this is the way I did it. I basically injected it into this function node, and this actually created a buffer using the values 16,001. And when I did that, if I just clear that and I do the inject, then I just went and read this, and I read the buffer, and from that I knew what values I needed to put into the simulator. You can see here I've got, if I can read it, it's 3E and 81. So then I went to my simulator and I put them in here. I started at address 3, 3E and 81. Now remember, this is a 16-bit register, so 3E is 8 bits and 81 is the other 8 bits. When I look at here, I'm looking at 8 bits and 8 bits here. And I did that trick with all of them. So if I wanted to know what the 16001 looked like as a 32-bit integer, I just clicked on that. And if I wanted to know what it looked like, this is another one, 68001. I did this because 68,000 is obviously larger than 64,000, which is the maximum you can represent with 16 bits, so that made more sense than using this one here. Then I just clicked on that and it took, I read the buffers there, and the same with the float. So you don't really need these, but I left them there because they are actually useful. You can actually see the way I did it. Okay, returning again to this function node here, what you can see here is I actually assign the value into the message.value, and that means that I can read it in the debug nodes. So if I just inject here, you can see here, I can see the value straight away here. I don't need to go into these objects. I can read it right from here. Now if I do the same with the 32-bit, you can see I've got a value of 1601, and this is reading from starting address 5. And if I look at starting address 5 in here, you can see there's starting address 5, and it's reading 32 bits, which is 4 bytes, which is this register here, 16, and this register here, which is 16. And you can see it looks the same as this one because that number 16,001 is the same in 16 bits as it is in 32 bits. It just takes 32 bits rather than 16 bits. Now that's why I did it again with another integer, 32-bit integer, but this is 68,001. So that's going to need 32 bits. So if I inject that, and you can see the value out here, 68,001, and wrong one. I'm using starting address 7, so if I go to starting address 7, there's 7, and it starts 00109A1. Now that is 68,001 in two 16-bit registers encoded as 32 bits. And how did I get that? Well, I showed you that before. I just used this one here. If I just clear that and inject that, go down into the buffer, and there's the buffer there, 019A1, and that's the value you're seeing here, 109A1. Okay, now let's go to a floating point, and we've got 16,001.5 as a floating point number, and I'm using starting address 10, and that starting address 10 is here, this one here, and a floating point is 32 bits, which is these two here, so it's going to pull in these two here, and you can see that when I look at the floating point, I'm reading in two addresses. Done that. So inject, and there's the value that comes out of here. So this is reading from the simulator, passing it into this function node. This function node then converts it into a floating point number and displays the value here. Now if I go to the 64-bit, you can see here this time it's a double, so I'm reading 4 addresses, not 2, and I'm using starting address 20. So I'm starting here, and these are the 4 addresses I'm reading. There's 16 bits, 32 bits, 48, 64 bits, so I'm reading all these 4. And the number I'm using is 16,001, and if I inject that, you can see there's the value here. Now what does this look like encoded as sorry, what does 16,001 encoded as 64 bits look like? Well, again, I use that trick there with the buffer. And you can see I've got 8 bits, sorry, 8 buffers, 8 bytes, and there they are there. You can see here 0000, that's the last 4 bytes, which you could see here when I showed you here. There's the last 4 bytes here, registers 2 and 3 are the last 4 bytes. Okay, so that was reading. Let's go on to writing. We're going to write 1632, a 32-bit float, and a 64-bit. Let me change that because that should be 64-bit, not 32. And we're going to use the flex writer, and very basic configuration there. And this is the function that's going to do it. So function code 6, starting address 40. We're only going to write 1. And the value we're going to write is 16,001. So let's go and have a look at starting address 40 in our simulator. And starting address 40 is here, I think. There, it's there. And let's now do the write. And you can see here starting address 43E81. Now we know that's 16,001 because we did it here when we were reading it. So we've put in starting address 40. Now we're going to do the same now with 32-bit, and we're going to start address 50. This time we need full buffers, 2 addresses, full buffers, and the integer we're going to write is 68,001. Now this is the interesting bit here. You see here I'm actually creating a buffer out of that integer. Now I can't write it simply as a value like I did previously. If we go back quickly to the 16-bit one, we just put the integer into the value and then we sent the value off into the Modbus node, the write node. But we can't do that with 32 bits because 32 bits is actually 2 16 bits. So we have to create the value, we have to create 2 value registers, and we do that here by first creating the buffer, which is going to create 4 8-bit buffers, and then we combine the buffers into 2 values. And you can see I'm doing the combination here for the one value, and I'm doing the other combination here for the other value. So now I've got 2 16-bit values. It's presented as an array, and I can pass that values on into the Modbus write getter node, or the write node. Okay, so let's write it. Just check what address I'm using, and let's write it. So let's write it, and if we go to address 50, you can see here's the value here. It should look familiar because I'm using the same values as I used for the read, and here's the one I used for the read up here on the top right. Now the same with the floats. If we go down to the float, you can see here I'm using again the buffer object to create a buffer. I need 4 bytes for the buffer, and again I use the same trick to create the 2 16-bit values here by combining those buffers, and those values get stored in an array and passed on to the Modbus write node. So let's finish off with the 64-bit float. So we're using function code 16, which we needed when we were doing the single float and when we were doing the 32-bit integer, because we're going to be writing multiple values. I'm going to use start address 80, so we'll see that when we do the write. We need 4 addresses because we're using 64 bits, which is 8 buffers. You can see allocating 8, and this time I use the write double big endiness to create the buffer. And now I need to combine the buffers into a values array, and we need full values, and you can see them. I'm combining them here, all 8 buffers, and then I just pass that values array on in the message.payload using the value key here. So let me do the inject. And if we go and have a look at our simulator, you can see here it is written into register 80. Okay, that brings us to the end of this video. In the next video we'll look briefly at reading and writing to coils, which we haven't covered yet, but it's very quick because it's the same processes that we've already been doing. And then we'll go on to integrating this with MQTT. We'll look at sending commands over MQTT to Modbus, and we'll be looking at receiving data from Modbus into MQTT. Okay, so if you've got any comments on the video, please leave them below. If you like the video, click on the like button below. And if you want to get notified of new videos, then you can always subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell. And again, if you want to share it on social media, then feel free to do so. Until the next time, goodbye.